S1, sorry, the S1H is duration free, so it's down to the amount of SD cards that you hot swap into the dual SD slots. The S1 has only got XQD and one SD card slot in this particular board. Let's show you that. Slightly bigger the XQD for photography. If you're doing raw, fast recording of raw photography, you need that high burst rate. Needs obviously a faster card. Having said that, SD cards are coming up to nowadays up to very, very high speeds beyond V90. Very, very quick and able to write, certainly with this camera, long duration recordings. So if you're doing events, weddings, long recording sessions, you can do it quite comfortably with this camera. You can record up to 30 minutes on these, 15 minutes in 6K photo mode. But this will go on forever, as long as you've got enough battery juice or SD cards, you can keep feeding them and swapping, you can just keep going. So that's the first thing which is great about this camera. The second thing is colour science. I was talking to you on about, there's the, before we get there, very big differences. There's the S1R, top end, mainly photographic. S1, a mixture of both photography and videography. And now with the S1H, specifically really for cinematographers, pro filmmakers, people who really want to go up a level, but it still retains the photographic capabilities, certainly of the S1, providing you really good 14-bit imagery, and you can do time-lapse, which is a very important aspect of filmmaking and photography. I know that you just bought an S1, haven't you, recently? How are you finding it? Loving it?
Yeah, it's a big step up since the last thing I bought 9 years ago. So
right. So it's your first camera in nearly 10 years.
It's like, yeah.
No, things have changed. Times have changed.
Two quantum levels.
Yeah. You've actually gone through a lot there, but you're enjoying all the benefits now. All that change. Great little camera, great colour science, and again, it's been improved even further in the S1H. The VariCam engineers have worked, top-end cinematographers have engineered and worked on this sensor in the S1H. So we get the benefit of their experience in a bigger sensor. This is bigger than the VariCam 35, bigger than the VariCam Pure. That's only a Super 35 sensor. This is a full frame sensor. We've got dual image stabilization, and on lens, and certain lenses,
not that one.
and in body image stabilization, so I can do pans, movement, and there's no jerky, like you get on other cameras. You don't actually need a gimbal for certain shots. If you're quite steady, you can produce a really nice flowing motion, without using a gimbal. Of course, people do like using gimbals if they're doing a lot of faster movement, and there's every good reason to use them. So, but these other functions which I want to talk about today, which really bring this camera at the forefront. There's the chief differences between the S1R photographic camera. It does do a little bit of video. It excels obviously in photographic terms. It can do 47.3 megapixels, slightly bigger sensor. It can do a 187 high resolution photo mode. The S1 is more for low light work. So it's a 24.2 megapixel sensor. The pixel photo size are actually bigger, which means more light gets into those photo buckets, which means in low light, in the dark, it performs admirably well. The S1H goes a stage further. It's a highly tuned dual ISO sensor. 4,000, 5,000, even 10,000 ISO is amazing, and it's better than the current full frame market leader A7S II in terms of performance in low light. In my own testings from what I've seen. And I'm going to look at a few graphs probably later to show the sweet spots as well. So there's a dip. So in the middle of the S1 hybrid, the S1H clear difference is 6K camera. This is a 6K camera now, and that means you can shoot the full open gate, the full size of the sensor. That means if you're doing HD or 4K UHD, you can use that to crop out or do post-production digital effects without any loss of resolution. And really engage and use that 6K facility. Or obviously, you can master your films in 6K, or you can extrapolate single frames, photographers, from that 6K image and get really high resolution, 18 megapixels, Carol here?
Yeah.
In size, JPEGs, which is pretty darn good. They look as good as, in my opinion, some of the raw photos. Yeah, but running at 50 frames per second or 25, 30p, 24p, obviously Super 35 in 50 frames per second, 60 frames per second. We also do HD with sound at 120 frames per second now, and the dynamic range is incredible. It's noise free at those dual ISO settings, which I'm going to show you. 120 at NTSC mode, 100 in PAL mode. You can switch this with the frequency range from 24 cinema mode, 50 Hertz PAL mode, 60 Hertz NTSC mode. And that comes with a host, a plethora of different codecs and frame settings, which we'll show you shortly. So loads of clear differences from the S1. This comes already inbuilt with VLOG, a logarithmic curve for recording all the high contrast gamma recording with 10-bit 422. We have a ProRes RAW video option for the HDMI coming very shortly with Atmos and a new firmware update. This will be able to record up to 6K RAW, 24p. I've been showing 30p RAW, 5.9K at IBC in Amsterdam, which is working really well in the current tests. That's going to be happening soon. With the RAW recording, it means it's even better than the codecs recording in camera. So really high quality, and you can pull back, temperature, you can pull back the highlights, and you get better detail in the shadows. Across all these cameras, they all share one common thing: the best EVF in the market today, 5.76 megapixel. I've got a security gratical somewhere on here, which is this one here. This is an HD resolution only EVF, external EVF. It costs about £2,000, these cinema ones do, £2,000 for that. This comes in as part of the camera, 5.7K, an insane resolution with a 0.78 magnification. What have you experienced? Good?
5.7 nig, not 5.7.
5.7 megapixels, sorry. I'm getting mixed up. Megapixels, yeah. 5.7 megapixels. That's only HD, 1920, 10.
So if you haven't had a chance to look through, this is the S1, but the viewfinder is identical.
Pass this S1H round as we talk. Right, as much as that, yeah. With this, for video, incredible what this can do. If you can film above, below, around corners, you can do it with that particular LCD. Updated full frame sensor design with this as well. The low pass filter is back on, and that's because we didn't want any moire in our video pictures. Video is prone to moire. Moire is high detail. For example, someone wearing a checked shirt, you might have seen it on TV, you get that weird effect, moire effect, where it blends in or goes all crazy, and that's because it's probably got no LPF on the camera. We've got the LPF, the low pass filter, and that cuts out that contrast moire, as we call it. That cuts out that and gives us clean imagery. But also, LPF, they're almost identically. What is going on here? It's crazy. When we have these two circuits which we can switch in, we can control it on a low ISO setting. We have a 4000 and 5000 ISO setting in the low ISO setting. In the high ISO setting for low light, we have 4000, 5000, goes up and up and up. But those 4000, 5000, which I'm about to show you, are exactly the same noise-free signal. It's the 640 ISO, it's insane. If you're not in log,
sorry, just quickly for the S1. S1, there's been a lot of speculation online that the S1 is also quietly dual ISO. I have had no confirmation of that whatsoever. I am more inclined to think that they do a big piece of noise reduction.
Yeah.
around the 4,000.
In fact, I think it's good actually on the S1.
Yeah.
But the S1H, wow, something else. True dual ISO circuitry like the Varicam F35 camera, which is another very expensive cinema camera. And Panasonic are renowned for their dual ISOs. When you're not in log and you're filming in normal picture profiles like Rec 709 or standard profiles or hybrid log gamma or the Cine-like D style camcorder style gammas, we've got different native ISOs. They've been tuned for those profiles. So for example, normal, you've got a native ISO of 100 in the low light, and the high, you have a 640. And again, no noise, both of them. Starting points. In Vlog, as I said, 640 and 4000. Vlog, the logarithmic curve capture to capture all the dynamic range of the sensor's 14 plus stops. You use Vlog and then you bring a LUT or a look or a grade into the camera or in post-production to really fully bring back that colour and light, luminance, which you probably all, you're all aware of what log is, I hope, yeah? Yeah, good stuff. You know what log is, sir?
We will be showing it.
Very flat curve, very flat, it's grey almost.
Oh,
It traps all the dynamic range. Like S-Log is on Sony's, C-Log on Canon's, we have V-Log, other cameras have their versions of log. Our log curve is almost identical to the ARRI log curve. That's why I found when mixing and matching and using ARRI cameras with the S1H, wow, it's almost like having the same camera.
You mean using the different formats for the same movie or the same?
Yeah, so I get the same look between my B camera next to a 50 grand Cine camera. So I can see this being used in B production roll, the B team or C unit, crash cameras, drones, or because it's technically approved now by Netflix as an A camera for small guerrilla filmmakers.
And Nick was just saying about drones, and in fact, if you go onto YouTube, you see that Kepler 138 film, and we commissioned 4 specific films. Just hold on, I'll turn the lights on. We commissioned 4 specific films to show off the skills of what the S1H could achieve. And then we did also a behind the scenes one, and you'll see the S1H hanging off a massive grey Octodrone, which was how they shot her on the headland. It was all shot on an enormous Octodrone, and on great big gimbals as well. But also the thing with people often think the Vlog is only about grading and about colour matching. It's actually it is colour matching, but it's often used as much to work in a multi-camera setup as it is to do something clever with your camera.
You can match log between other cameras quite much easier than doing a standard
I'll
profile.
turn that off. You start that again. I'll turn it off.
So I'm just going to show you, I mean, we might not be able to see it in the dark that well, but I mean, I always do what's called a black cap test when we get a new camera. Because when they say, you know, is the ISO, and I'm an ambassador, but I'm a filmmaker first and foremost, and I know my cameras. So first thing I do, I'll put a cap on it, and look on, the S1H is duration free, so it's down to the amount of SD cards that you hot swap into the dual SD slots. The S1 has only got XQD and one SD card slot in this particular body. Let's show you that. Slightly bigger the XQD for photography. If you're doing raw, fast recording of raw photography, you need that high burst rate. Needs obviously a faster card. Having said that, SD cards are coming up to nowadays up to very, very high speeds beyond V90. Very, very quick and able to write, certainly with this camera, long duration recording. So if you're doing events, weddings, you know, long recording sessions, you can do it quite comfortably with this camera. You can record up to 30 minutes on these, 15 minutes in 6K photo mode. But this will go on forever, as long as you've got enough battery juice or SD cards, you can keep feeding them and swapping, you know, you can just keep going. So that's the first thing which is great about this camera. The second thing is colour science. I was talking to you earlier about, there's the, before we get there, very big differences. There's the S1R, top end, mainly photographic. S1, a mixture of both photography and videography. And now with the S1H, specifically really for cinematographers, pro filmmakers, people who really want to go up a level, but it still retains the photographic capabilities, certainly of the S1, with providing you really good 14-bit imagery, and you can do time-lapse, which is a very important aspect of filmmaking and photography. I know that you just bought an S1, haven't you, recently? How are you finding it? Loving it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big step up since the last thing I bought 9 years ago. So
right. So it's your first camera in nearly 10 years.
It's like, yeah. No,
Things have changed, times have changed.
Two quantum levels.
Yeah. You've actually gone through a lot there, but you're enjoying all the benefits now, all that change. Great little camera, great colour science. And again, it's been improved even further in the S1H. The VariCam engineers have worked, top-end cinematographers have engineered and worked on this sensor in the S1H. So we get the benefit of their experience in a bigger sensor. This is bigger than the VariCam 35, bigger than the VariCam Pure. That's only a Super 35 sensor. This is a full frame sensor. We've got dual image stabilization, and on lens, and certain lenses.
Yeah, not that one.
And in body image stabilization, so I can do pans, movement, and there's no jerky, like you get on other cameras. You don't actually need a gimbal for certain shots. If you're quite steady, you can produce a really nice flowing motion, without using a gimbal. Of course, people do like using gimbals if they're doing a lot of faster movement, and there's every good reason to use them. So, but these other functions which I want to talk about today, which really bring this camera at the forefront. There's the chief differences between the S1R photographic camera. It does do a little bit of video. It excels obviously in photographic terms. It can do 47.3 megapixels, slightly bigger sensor. It can do a 187 high resolution photo mode. The S1 is more for low light work. So it's a 24.2 megapixel sensor. The pixel photo size are actually bigger, which means more light gets into those photo buckets, which means in low light, in the dark, it performs admirably well. The S1H goes a stage further. It's a highly tuned dual ISO sensor. 4,000, 5,000, even 10,000 ISO is amazing, and it's better than the current full frame market leader A7S II in terms of performance in low light. In my own testings and what I've seen. And I'm going to look at a few graphs probably later to show the sweet spots as well. So in the middle of the S1 hybrid, the S1H clear difference is 6K camera. This is a 6K camera now, and that means you can shoot the full open gate, the full size of the sensor. That means if you're doing HD or 4K UHD, you can use that to crop out or do post-production digital effects without any loss of resolution. Really engage and use that 6K facility. Or obviously you can master your films in 6K, or you can extrapolate single frames, photographers, from that 6K image and get really high resolution, 18 megapixels, Carol here?
Yeah.
In size, JPEGs, which is pretty darn good. They look as good as, in my opinion, some of the raw photos. But running at 50 frames per second or 25, 30p, 24p, obviously Super 35 in 50 frames per second, 60 frames per second. We also do HD with sound at 120 frames per second now, and the dynamic range is incredible. It's noise-free at those dual ISO settings which I'm going to show you. 120 at NTSC mode, 100 in PAL mode. You can switch this with the frequency range from 24 cinema mode, 50 Hertz PAL mode, 60 Hertz NTSC mode. And that comes with a host, a plethora of different codecs and frame settings which we'll show you shortly. So loads of clear differences from the S1. This comes already inbuilt with VLOG, a logarithmic curve for recording all the high contrast gamma recording with 10-bit 14.2. We have a ProRes RAW video option for the HDMI coming very shortly with Atmos and a new firmware update. This will be able to record up to 6K RAW, 24p. I've been showing 30p RAW, 5.9K at IBC in Amsterdam, which is working really well in the current tests. That's going to be happening soon. With the RAW recording, it means it's even better than the codecs recording in camera. So really high quality, and you can pull back, temperature, you can pull back the highlights, and you get better detail in the shadows. Across all these cameras, they all share one common thing: the best EVF in the market today, 5.76 megapixel. I've got a security graphical somewhere on here, which is this one here. This is an HD resolution only EVF, external EVF. It costs about £2,000, these cinema ones do, £2,000 for that. This comes in as part of the camera, 5.7K, an insane resolution with a 0.78 magnification. What have you experienced? Good?
5.7 meg, not 5.7.
5.7 megapixels, sorry. I'm getting mixed up. Megapixels, yeah. 5.7 megapixels. That's only HD, 1920, 10.
So if you haven't had a chance to look through, this is the S1, but the viewfinder is identical.
Pass this S1H RAM as we talk.
Take one of these, somebody who's seed in training, use this equipment, they're quite delicate with that. And we take the crack on the edge, because the solid element is cool, and we'll put this on here. Plus, then we're going to take pictures. So, hello, I'm Ed from Sigma. I'm the events coordinator for Sigma. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to thank Carol for inviting me here to talk a little bit about Sigma and LNAV and the LNAV Alliance. It's quite an interesting thing in itself, in and of itself. A little bit of history about Sigma, if I may, that we have to do this with. Founded 9th of September 1961, so celebrated our 50th year just last month. Mitsuhiro Yamaki-san, the full story is he works for an optics manufacturer, primarily involved in binoculars, and optic manufacturer after the war was very important to the economy, big export provider, of course. The company was working for under a little bit of financial difficulty around about the same time the management grant disappeared. And the people that were backing this enterprise recognised Mitsuhiro's skills as an optics designer, invited him to his own business up, with their backing obviously, and Sigma Research Centre was really cool, and that really speaks to Mitsuhiro's vision to drive forward technology. And a lot of the things that Sigma do are unique or original or new or not been seen before. One of the early inventions being the telecom button. So these things here that go between the camera and the lens, many lens with a telephoto, Sigma invented it. Very Yamaki invented it. Sadly he died a few years ago, just 4 years ago. And his son Kazuto Yamaki now runs the business. Also an optical designer, also looking at design. And he owns the whole thing. Sigma UK as a whole, he owns a subsidiary of Sigma Corporation Japan. Kazuto owns it, and he's a lovely chap. Really nice guy. When the designers come to him, they say, all we want to do is a weird thing. Because they don't have shareholders, they don't justify spending money on stuff that in some cases vanity projects. And he can understand when a designer says, we want to do this, this and this, he understands what that is. If you ever go to Photokina, all the execs have meetings all day long. You don't see the camera, the execs are the way Kazuto sells are not in a meeting, he'll be on the stand for the king or IBC or any other go. And you can wander onto the stand and when you tell him, can you tell me about this? And he will, at length. The design concept, how it's made, who made it, who designed it, why he designed it. What is children playing to? At length we'll talk to you. So that's a little bit about Sigma. Private company, The L mount appliance, in and of itself, as I say, is an interesting and groundbreaking thing. Three companies, all cameras, all lenses, all in competition with each other, all agreeing to work to the same standard in a very close partnership. We did something similar with Micro Four Thirds, but that was more of a casual alliance. This is much more of a set of technical standards that we'll work to develop in harmony, which is how it is done. We wouldn't turn up necessarily for Olympus Micro Four Thirds thing. But the panel side is more than happy to do it. We did a garden party earlier in the year, 6 months before a garden party, and stuff. And we had kind of some people there, we had a lot of people there, and they brought their cameras and we got the press and some others, some leaders as well. So our starting point for the L mount was we made cameras in 1973, currently have a range of 6 different cameras, and we wanted to move towards a mirrorless full frame camera. We wanted to design a new lens mount optimized for full frame mirrorless cameras. We wanted mirrorless because we get more accurate autofocus, you get rid of the AF-Sense and pen prism, you focus directly on the chip, you get more accuracy as we can't images. And we were talking to Panasonic about this because we have a relationship with Panasonic. Panasonic have a very close relationship with Leica, and look around, we were working on this, and out of that, the alliance was born. We do our own things, we all have our own sort of corporate identities and our own product lineups. We get on very much. If you want Leica, it's on your best, there's nothing like Leica. If you want a 6K, 25 frames a second, rigged up with anamorphic lens, you can't do an S1H, and you get an eye-level viewpoint. So there's quite a lot of things like that. You get one of those big, then the FB is cool. But then we're swinging around about all our own unique products within the same arena. The L mount itself is quite interesting. 4 flanges, so not 3 as it's originally 4. So when you put it on the camera, it's a much more solid setting. So the registration between lens and sensor is much closer, and it doesn't need to go around so much. Very critical if you want some very, very sharp images. It's also very wide. It's a 51.6mm throat to the camera. Usually grass.
Yeah, just open it up.
That gives us a lot of opportunities to do a couple of things. We can make very fast lenses. We can make smaller, more compact wide-angle lenses. So that's a 35mm 1.2. It's an example of a fast aperture lens, which is lovely. We can also do things like this. It's the 14-24 f2.8. So we go for slightly more modest aperture. We do this as a DSLR lens. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier. And it just, DSLR version just comes over about there, stands about there. And it's appreciably heavier. So because we've got that 20mm flange distance, we can make these rather smaller, lighter, wide-angle lenses. And at the other extreme from our 1.235, we can make the Didi 45 and 2.8. And who wouldn't want to take that on those? That'll be a little camera fits in your pocket and straight to lens full. And it will work with that. If you want a 50mm 1.4, if you want one of the nicest 50mm 1.4s, buy the Panasonic. And that will fit on our little camera, our little lens will fit on a bit Panasonic. I just had my camera upstairs with a Leica 90mm L mount on it. Totally interchangeable. And the last thing about the L mount, which is rather nice, is it's highly adaptable. It's only a 20mm flange distance. When you look at something like Canon flange distance, I looked about it's 44. So we've got 15mm or so in which we can put an adapter. So now I can adapt. This is a counterfeit lens. Get straight on there. I've now got a cine lens in the airfield. I can use it on a Canon C300, C300. I can use it on my S1, I can use it on Panasonic F. I can even use this on a Leica SL if I wanted to. That's the MC21, the Canon L mount. We also do a version for the existing Sigma customers who we've got previous called SA. So we do an SA version. That sells at £99, discounted to support our existing customers. Counterfeit sells at £250, which is more in the green and green type matters. I do have one little document